Being a goalie in hockey is one of the most physically and mentally demanding positions in all of sports. The pressure to perform is immense, and the physical toll can be brutal. With slap shots traveling at over 100 miles per hour towards the goaltender, staying focused and mentally sharp for an entire game requires intense off-day and pre-game preparation. Let's take a look at how goalies mentally prepare for the rigorous workload with Islanders alumnus Cory Schneider. We're here with Cory Schneider, a longtime NHL goaltender, familiar spot for you in the crease, but we're not talking about the physical side of it. I want to pick your brain on the mental side of being a goaltender. Are you ready for that?
I'll see if I can do my best to try to explain it to you.
Personally, the things I've admired about the goaltending position is the physical requirements, the flexibility, the athleticism, but what I'm most impressed about is the mental side of the game, the fortitude that's required to be that last line of defense.
It's the most important part. I mean, there's the old joke that goaltending is 10% physical and 100% mental. So as you said, physically everyone's there. It's the mental side, I think, that separates guys, and you take on a lot of pressure. And I think as a goaltender, you have to thrive under that pressure. You have to want that pressure, understand what's expected of you as the last line of defense, where one mistake can cost the game. So that mental fortitude and toughness, being able to deal with adversity, finding ways to pull through when things aren't going well, those are all key elements of becoming a good goaltender.
Take me through some of the things you do mentally to prepare for a game.
There's a lot going on in your head. It's like a golf swing, right? If you think about too many things at once, you're not going to do any of it right. So I think as a goaltender, you have to focus. You have to remember what your key points are, because as you know, it's paralysis by analysis, and you can see goalies who are overthinking it. They're not playing, they're stiff, they're just trying to do too much. So for me, staying present, staying in the moment, because that next shot's coming, and if your mind's elsewhere, it's probably going to go in the net.
Playing such a crucial role in the game, elite goaltenders not only require physical strength and agility, but also great mental fortitude. In fact, some of the best goalies in the NHL credit their success to the mental side of their game.
If you don't have a routine and you go to the rink every night saying, well, what do I do now? It can kind of distract you, or you're sort of lost and you're sort of panicking. So I think having a routine allows you to say, hey, this works for me. I know this allows me to play at a high level, so I'm going to continue doing this every night.
Pre-game routines that require concentration optimize mental readiness and get the player in the zone. Athletes who prioritize mental and cognitive training experience less burnout and can have a more successful season.
Take me through a goaltender's mindset. Take me through a goaltender's preparation. What do you do when you show up at the rink?
I like to do a lot of stuff in the morning ahead of time, like tape my sticks, get my stuff lined up for that night, my snacks, my drink.
Get rid of all the distractions.
Exactly. Let's do that now. Let's get that out of the way. So the morning is definitely a preparation time. I want to make sure that I'm sharp, that I feel good, that I'm doing things with a purpose, because that's how I'm going to play that night. When your brain is always firing and you got to make sure it's ready, you want to make sure it's rested. So I would always try to get a good nap in, and I'm a big napper.
One of the best ways for athletes to optimize their brain health is sleep. Prioritizing consistent sleep patterns, especially during periods of intense training and competition, will facilitate mental and physical recovery.
I like to get to the rink pretty early, where I've taken care of all my business, but hey, now it's game time. Now you got to start your breathing, making sure you're taking deep breaths to regulate your heart and your brain. It's really where you kind of focus in. Like you get in that mindset of like, I'm not going to get beat tonight.
Take me inside your brain when you've got your eyes closed, you're getting prepared for the game. What is going through your head? What's the picture that you're seeing?
The first minute or so is more me just sort of going through my talking points. You know, first save, first five, stay in the moment. You know, I have some notes that I wrote on my blocker as a young kid that I now get embroidered into the back of my blocker.
What are they?
It's don't fear failure, compete 100%, play for others. Those are good little I look at the back of my blocker in a game just to sort of calm me down. So I would kind of run through those first in my head, picturing all the movements I'm going to do: reverse VH, step outs, drops, pushes, things like that.
Are you feeling that movement as you're...
A little bit, yeah. I'm trying to like see what that would feel like, you know, in my body as I'm sort of, you know, moving a little bit, and then visualizing all these moments in the game, and I'm doing subtle movements. It looks very strange. I know people have probably walked in on me and I have my headphones on and my eyes closed, and I got my glove and blocker in a dark hallway somewhere, and for me it helped just get my brain working, get my brain going. Let's see it before it happens, so that way when I do see it during the game, it's not a new thing or a foreign thing to me. It's all about repetition and experience. So I think that's what's helped me get ready for most games.
Visualizing successful performances helps the goalie to be mentally prepared for the challenging situations they will face on the ice.
So when you're doing all that work mentally, is there anything you can do, maybe a drill or two, that incorporates it physically and everything's in perfect harmony on the mental and physical side?
While I'm doing my physical dynamic warm-ups, I'm trying to think as a goalie, say, hey, I'm making this movement for a reason. I'm making that movement for a reason. Try to marry my mind with my body. And then I definitely do some hand-eye coordination stuff, some racket balls, just trying to get those fast twitch muscles married with your eyes. So say, hey, I'm reacting, I'm reading, I'm seeing things clearly, because you do have to marry the physical with the mental.
You had a lot going on up there.
It is a lot to process and it is a lot to handle. And again, that's why when you see goalies go on a bad stretch, because a lot of things can go wrong really quickly and all of a sudden it can all fall apart. So to keep it all together is a challenge. I think that's part of what makes and breaks guys at this level.
All right, Cory, starting goaltender, you come onto the ice first. You lead your team on for warm-ups, and when the game's about to start, you're the first guy onto the ice. There's a lot of noise. If you're at home, it might fire you up. If you're on the road, it could intimidate you. Do you hear that noise?
As you're coming out on the ice, that's the fun time. That's when you do this. This is why you do this. This is why I became a goalie when I was 6 years old, was because I wanted to be that guy in the net, just trying to do everything I could to get in the way of a puck. And I think for me, you try to let your mind go a little bit. You don't want to get distracted or overwhelmed or get too caught up in the moment of the cheers or the boos, but going into it, that's when you're supposed to have fun.
For athletes, the physical aspects of performance often get the most attention. However, mental health and preparation can be just as integral for staying sharp and having success throughout the season.